Live. All right, and we are now live. Jaguars United
Whoop.
podcast, August 24th. Joey,
Jason.
how's it going?
It's going good, man. We're back. Once again, like fourth week straight.
People are getting used to our Monday night shows now, I think.
They call that consistency.
They call it consistency. And much like some of the Jaguars we're seeing in training camp, well, we'll call it training camp. Is it fair to call it training camp?
It basically is,
Okay.
right? I mean, you're barely hitting.
So we are 20 days away from football,
Which is crazy.
which is awesome. I love it. Finally, before we get into that, make sure you follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Jaguars United. Search it up. We're there. YouTube, if you're listening to the podcast later, you can watch us record these shows live on YouTube.
Yeah. Don't forget our new MySpace page.
Our new MySpace page with our MySpace song. See,
Well,
people listening to
Are you told to even remember MySpace was like the original
yeah.
like website?
When
Like-
I was growing up, Facebook was only for college kids.
Okay, all right, just checking. 'Cause
MySpace
it wasn't always
for-
music. It was like, I'm going to have my sparkly banner. With
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Do you remember you had like a profile song?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay,
talking about.
my
Your
bad.
profile
My
song.
bad. Now
Yeah.
it's just music. I
Yeah.
thought that's what we were referring
and
to.
I think Yellow Card was my profile song most of the time, except for the couple times I'd put gangster rap in there just so people thought
You're
I was hard. Yeah, exactly. But make sure you follow us on all of that stuff. We appreciate you guys being here with us on the show today. We're live like we always are Monday night. We're pretty close to starting on time. We're only 21 minutes off from our 10 o'clock projected start time. That's
Not
pretty
bad.
good knowing Joey and myself.
Is it really 10:21? Oh, wow.
So thank you guys so much for watching. We have a lot to get to today, so I'm excited. We previewed a little bit. Training camp, or so we'll call it, has started up, and I feel like it's come out overwhelmingly positive. And I know every year it comes out overwhelmingly positive, but does something feel different about the positivity coming out this year, or am I just falling in love with the news like I always do?
I think it's definitely probably like 60% you're falling in love with the news like you always do. I think the other 40%, though, is what scares the heck out of me, is that the offense looks amazing. Like, there's nothing but fantastic reports coming about everybody. Like, literally everybody. Like, Keelan Cole supposedly hasn't dropped a pass, like, all training camp, we'll call it. And they're running routes, like, they won't say what routes, but they're running them over the middle, I would assume. Like, way more stuff's going on over the middle. And it's really working out well. D.D. Westbrook over the middle, like, stuff like that. So, but what that tells me, though, is that our defense is really bad.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask. How much of it is the offense is really good or the defense is really bad? Because, I mean, I saw a couple plays where guys like Colin Johnson looked good or Laviska Shenault looked good, and then I realized that, like, Luke Barco is playing defense back against him, who's primarily going to be a kick returner, and players like that. So is it so much that, or is it, just the offense is that much better?
I think we have a lot of young guys that are really good, more than usual, and it's a combination of our defense not being that great and the fact that they've like tackled like once.
Yeah, I mean, there's no live bullets.
Yeah, I
as
mean, so
coaches call
really,
it.
where's the fear of going over the middle if you know you're not going to get hit? Yeah, you're going to
Yeah.
catch that ball because you're not worried about getting a train ran over you.
Yeah, that's true. We got UCF Jaguar in the chat. It's our dog.
What?
It's our boy, UCF Jaguar. He said he sent his subs over from his channel. Shout
Nice.
out to UCF Jaguar for that. I mean, that's,
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, oh yeah. UCF Jaguar is the man. I mean, there's a reason why we've had a good relationship with him for years now.
I'm
which
glad
can
we
say.
started a little late because otherwise that wouldn't have happened.
That's true.
He'd been
That's
still going
true.
because we were watching him earlier.
Yeah, we were. We were watching UCF Jaguar break down some of the news from earlier today. So shout out to you. Thanks for bringing your people over. Elliot, Alex, awesome. We're talking Jags training camp, and we kind of posed this question to the fans. We want to know what the fans have to say. Are you buying into the training camp hype of the offense this year, or do you think it's a matter of the Jags defense just not really being that good? So we'll send it to the comments. Let us know what you think. Tell us if the offense is going to be good, because the offense is getting some hype. And if you think about it, the differences from last year's offense to this year's offense are tremendous. You changed offensive coordinators.
True.
I mean, you literally had DeFilippo here just so that
Foles.
you would have Nick Foles.
Yeah, that was
So
it.
DeFilippo's gone, and then you have a new tight end with Tyler Eifert, who's going to play that stretch tight end, wide tight end, move tight end. Not much of a blocker, but we hope to have O'Shaughnessy back. You have Laviska Shenault.
Well, Shaughnessy's back.
He's back, but how confident can you be in a player coming back
if we're talking about
a knee injury?
If we're talking about positive things about the offense, I've heard amazing things about O'Shaughnessy, like that he's running routes. He's like fast, like he looks back.
Yeah.
They've said that. The notorious they have said that.
Well, we just reached 1,000 subs thanks to UCF Jaguars Militia Army. So thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Finally not a liar to my kids.
Joey told his kids he had 1,000 subscribers
like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Now I can really say that.
But we thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. You guys are awesome. We do it for the fans. We noticed there was a vacant hole in the fans' voice in the Jaguars community. So that's what we're all about. But we want to know what you think. Is it the offense? Is the offense that much more improved? Brandon Brown says, I hope so. They are getting me excited about our offense, but they break my heart every year. But I am hopeful.
Yeah.
That's it.
Join the club. I mean,
think that's it.
That's like dead on.
That is well said.
Dead on.
It's every year I get so hyped. Every year I'm so excited. I mean, remember how good Nick Foles looked, how tight his spiral was? If I saw one more tweet that said Nick Foles throws a tight spiral, I swear I was going to punt my phone.
Well, right now they're saying that Gardner Minshew throws a tight spiral, that his downfield looks awesome, that his arm strength looks awesome, even though it was like one of his knocks. So, dude, training camp, quotation marks once again, that's what we always get.
Yeah.
I would like to throw a second question out there.
Oh.
Since we're talking about training camp.
Okay.
And what happened today. So I guess C.J. Henderson was ill, not COVID, but some kind of, cold.
Ill like sick?
Yeah, sick. Came back ill on the field today because he got beat over and over again.
Yeah.
And I guess Keelan Cole, dusted him.
Took him to the woodshed.
With a good route.
Right.
And then afterwards, he hit him, at least 2 seconds afterwards, lit him up, hit him, put him to the ground. So there's two sides of the story. Do you like the fact that C.J. Henderson, who I've called weak sauce as far as tackling goes,
you have,
is showing some nastiness.
As you're wearing your Gator shirt.
As I am.
Yeah.
Which allows me to say that about him.
Okay. All right.
So is it a good thing? He's showing some nastiness on defense. I'm I don't want to get beat ever. And if that happens, this is what's going to happen. Or are we against that in training camp as it is? That modern day, the NFLPA, came out and said, we're going to fine him, in practice, pretty much.
Well, I guess it depends on the players involved. So C.J. Henderson, obviously a player that we all expect to be a starter day one. And Keelan Cole, who although has picked up some momentum in the media the last couple of weeks, is kind of a bubble player.
Sure.
So we're talking about a number 1 first-round pick, or pick 9 overall, going at it with a guy who was an undrafted rookie who had one season of 1,000 yards.
And one legitimate catch.
One great catch everyone remembers. I mean, C.J. Henderson's going to win that 9 times out of 10.
So you're saying if he'd lit up Chark like that, different story?
I mean, I think Chark almost has more respect than Henderson at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm saying that.
But no, I don't think so. I think, Keelan Cole is fighting for a roster spot. C.J. Henderson is a nasty corner who is trying to establish himself in the league. I just feel like that's
that kind of takes
two trains going at each other.
Well, that's a different point, though. Cole beat him. He pretty much cheap shotted him, but let him know that he was there and he didn't like the fact that he beat him. Is that okay against your own players when they're doing everything they can in training camp, once again, to risk no injuries? I mean, they're giving everybody days off or half days off, left and right. So, I mean, I think that's kind of the question is that okay against Keelan Cole's going to make the team, right?
Maybe. I mean, Keelan Cole's a guy that I thought might be cut.
Well, I thought so too, but
if Colin Johnson outplays him the way everyone's talking about it.
Well, Colin Johnson's fast, but
Colin Johnson's big and he's a red zone threat. Oh, yeah. And I mean, he's going to give you that. I mean, look, here's the issue. Here's what it boils down to me. Keelan Cole played under 400 snaps last season,
and he was horrible. He dropped everything that was thrown to him.
Played under 400. C.J. Henderson, we're expecting to play 1,000 snaps next year.
So it was the perfect guy for him to set the tone for the defense and light up.
I think so.
So you're on that side of the ball.
I think so.
Well, I am too. I just want to see your point.
Yeah, no,
I agree.
for sure.
1,000%.
Honestly, I mean, I could wake up tomorrow, find out he's cut, and I don't feel much different about the team.
Perfect. Hopefully the rest of the defense follows Henderson's lead and says it's time to get nasty because we need some nastiness.
UCF Jaguar says C.J. Henderson is sketching him out a little bit. I don't know if he's all there in the head. Not sure what to make of it. And now that's a point that I could understand and I could get on board with because it's rare you see this type of behavior out of a rookie.
Well, UCF's obviously read the tweets from the week before. I'm sure you probably did as well. I mean, he had that whole night, like literally like 4:00 in the morning, like
he got into the
tweeting out like Jalen
bit.
Ramsey, like
I like it,
non-sequential. Like,
I like it.
I didn't because it was like it didn't make sense. It was like this guy's headspace is not right now. Which his whole MO is like perfect player, perfect guy, team player, elite athlete, no problems. And he started like tweeting out all these like weird chicken for the money stuff. Like he was the running back that for Seattle. I mean, it was just weird. So I kind of see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I see where he's coming from too. But you got to remember, DBs are weird dudes in general. I mean, think about Richard Sherman. You know, even these guys that are not weird, that when you actually start talking to them, are really weird. Like Darrelle Revis, a guy who didn't talk very much, but when he did, you were like, this guy's a little off. Like corners are a little off. I don't know what it is about the position. They're a little bit off.
Well,
I don't know why.
They're like guys who can't catch the ball or they be receivers, and they're the biggest divas in the league. So
and
it's like
then they
diva minus like 2.
Right. They overcompensate. I mean, they do have the hardest position. I mean, they're basically playing man.
The hardest position?
Yes.
Other than quarterback?
Other than quarterback.
Okay. You didn't say that.
Sorry.
All
I thought that was implied.
Fair enough.
All right. Someone said, I think it was Elliot Crabtree, should we sign Earl Thomas?
That'd be awesome.
I don't think so.
Dude, we need some.
He's not old. He's my age. He's 30.
Old for the NFL.
that's prime. Okay.
Why would you not?
I'm in my prime, Joey.
Why would you not? He's an elite defender, and he's like a locker room guy. You're talking about get some grit on the defense.
Here's why you don't sign him, because he's never left anywhere on good terms. If you remember in Seattle, he to refresh everyone's memory in Seattle, you may have forgotten what happened to him. It's a pretty funny story. Tragic, really. Holds out all offseason for a new deal. Seahawks won't sign him, won't extend him. And he finally is like holds out all offseason. He finally signs like a week before the season starts. 4th game into the season, like breaks his leg. Gets carted off the field in Seattle and is flicking off Pete Carroll.
I don't like Pete Carroll, so I'm good with that.
Then he goes to Baltimore. Gets into a training camp fight with a guy that no one's heard of before. He gets kicked off the team. Like that doesn't happen unless there's something else underlying going on.
All right, so you're saying he's a guy that I don't like on my football team.
Yeah, you don't want him on your team.
I'll take your
Good
word for
player.
it. Fair enough.
I mean, I was looking at his stats today because I knew he was going to come up. From 2010 or 11 when he was drafted, for 5 straight seasons, he didn't miss a game. Isn't that crazy for a safety in the NFL that plays his style? Didn't miss a game his first 5 years in the league.
That's where he got his stature from, though. I mean, like he was elite for 5 years.
Yeah, no, he was good.
A stud, and then since he hasn't been. So, all right, done.
Brandon Brown says Trey Herndon has been showing out, which is awesome because I wasn't always a fan of his. I don't know what to make of Trey Herndon. All these stats are coming out about how he's allowed the least amount of catches on catchable passes, I think was the stat that came out in the NFL.
I don't know what that means.
He gave up the least amount of catches to receivers on catchable
a
passes.
ball that could have been caught, he defended them the best.
Right.
Okay.
Which I guess is good, but if you think back to the defense of the Jags last year, here's where you have to be careful about the defense of the Jags last year. If you take the overall stats of the defense from week 1 to week 16, and you put them all together, and you give you stats, they're going to look better than the reality of what it was. Because after Ramsey left, and after Darius was injured at that point, the Jaguars ranked last in almost every defensive category.
Yeah.
So the defense that you have now, minus Henderson and Chazon and any of these new guys that were drafted, was statistically the worst defense in the league when it was just them playing last year. So I see the Trey Herndon love, but Trey Herndon was the starting DB on the worst defense last year.
Okay, fair enough.
So he is what he is. I want to like Trey Herndon. Smart dude. I mean, all SEC academic honors. I love intelligence on the field. At the same time, what's he giving you? So that's the issue you have there. Tekken is my world. Says, what's up, guys? What's up, Tekken?
Like Tekken, like T.I.'s...
Tekken, like the fighter video.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. I haven't played Tekken in a while.
Dude, Tekken 3 was the bomb.
It was a button masher. I mean, I know now it's not a button masher anymore. I'm sure now it's complicated. I can imagine.
The fact you said that shows you don't know Tekken, but move on.
Okay. Let's see here. Elliot Crabtree says, those Gardner Minshew to LaVisca Chenault throws are looking fire.
I agree.
UCF Jaguars says, we need Earl Thomas for his magical mentor powers.
Does that include, like, fighting people on the field?
Yeah, flicking off your coach. You ever flicked off a coach, Joey?
Never in my life.
Have you ever done anything close to that?
I was captain of my high school team and my college team. You don't get to that point by flicking off your coach, man. Like, there's plenty of stuff I didn't like about either one of them.
You don't flick off your coach.
You respect.
Yeah.
You trust the system.
You trust the system because that's the guy that brought you in.
It's like I don't flick off my boss. That's why I have jobs.
Charlie Boy says, thank God you guys are on. Makes time go by at work. Charlie Boy, that's awesome. I hope you're having a good day at work. I hope you're making some good money. I hope you're making tips. I don't know what your industry is.
Third shift, maybe?
Maybe you're making that third shift money, that time and a half.
I like it.
Either way, we're glad you're here too.
Heck yeah, man.
Elliot Crabtree says, Jadeveon Clowney, Antonio Brown, and Earl Thomas are now free agent Pro Bowlers. Which one would you sign?
Okay, and that's a great point. The fact that we are not paying Clowney to come shows that we're trying to tank this year. I'll throw that out there right now. No reason whatsoever, with our salary cap space right now, we would not go get Clowney.
I don't think that's true. I mean, you drafted Calais. They said they would have taken Chase on at 9. They thought about taking Chase on at 9. If you were going to take Chase on at 9...
Oh, so you still think Jan's going to play for us this year?
No, I think you have Josh Allen, you have Jan, or Josh Allen, you have Chase on the other side, and I don't know...
Dude, we could get Clowney for like $13 million.
I don't know if Clowney can play that interior defensive lineman. If you're worried about the run...
Dude, he's a giant dude that doesn't sack the quarterback. That's all he does.
He's a good player, and I think you're right. You're right.
There's no reason not to sign him. There's no risk there.
But, I mean, if you think about it, if they do sign Clowney, then you now have... Clowney at what, 14, 15 million at least? At least.
Okay.
You still have Ngakoue who could sign a franchise tender. And,
well, they obviously would not franchise him.
I don't know what the rules are. I mean, I think he can still like sign it as long as he does it before the start of the season. It's 4 edge rushers that you will need to give snaps to now if you signed him. There's no room. Antonio Brown, I mean, that dude's not right mentally. You can't bring him in. I guess Earl Thomas would win that because he comes in immediately and starts and plays every snap, and you're not giving away any snaps for him.
I think you're right with Earl and AB. I mean, the Jags obviously made it a point to draft quality character guys. Like they made it a point. Yeah. Everybody they took in was
besides
somebody.
C.J. Henderson.
Now he's starting to show out because he's in Jacksonville. He's got that.
He's getting that Duval blood.
Started drinking that tap water from the stadium and went straight down.
Drinking that water fountain water from TIA.
Exactly, like completely different guy. But anyway, before that, they drafted like quality dudes, and they don't fit the mold, man. You're not going to bring AB into this. I mean, we're not trying to win a Super Bowl.
No.
Only person that would bring him in was somebody that was trying to win a Super Bowl like this year.
Yeah, I mean they're tanking, obviously.
Yeah.
The fact that their biggest free agent acquisition this year was Joe Schobert, who plays middle linebacker, and their 2 first-round draft picks were on the defensive side of the ball, shows you that they're not setting up Minshew for success.
Hey, back to training camp talk, though. Schobert, everybody's saying looks amazing. Not just a run stopper, but he is also like sick in the pass game.
He's better in the pass game.
No, this is an all-around, like a 5-tool player if you're a baseball fan.
He's the Mike Trout of middle linebacker.
Exactly.
That
was an actual quote.
Was it?
That he was a 5-tool player.
Oh.
At middle linebacker, not just a run stopper.
I like to use the adjective 5-tool in all things in life.
I agree because it's like the greatest. Like,
it's great.
It means like you're good at everything you could possibly do in life.
Yeah, it's like, oh, how's that office chair? Well, it's good. It's a 5-tool office chair. It gives me good lumbar support. It gives me good lateral movement. If you just throw that in there, people will be like,
how was that sub? It was a 5-tool sub, man. It had it all.
It had it all. It delivered in every area.
Exactly.
And I will say, Elliot Crabtree, shout out to you and your questions and your comments. They are on point. I will say that.
Very on point tonight.
Yeah. Tekken is my world. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your guys' faith in Todd Wash? I'll let you take that one, Joey, first.
That's a tough one.
Well, scale 1, you'll have 10 options.
So 1 to 10, I would say about a 6. I mean, he's well respected.
True.
He's had, 2017 was an amazing year, best defense in the league, and we've had a lot of bad defenses, but I think that's more Jimmy and Joe's versus his system. I think he's tried to manage his system to the players we've had the past couple of years. And this year's going to be exactly the same because, yeah, we've got some better players, but, man, they're so young and raw. It's going to be tough. That's what scares me is the defense this year.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I've been watching a lot of Pro Football Talk has been talking about the Jags a lot recently. And however you may feel about Pro Football Talk, whatever, people, whatever. But they keep bringing up an interesting point that is true, and it kind of speaks to the overall team, like where they're at, their makeup. If you're Dave Caldwell and you're Doug Marrone, you cannot be tanking. Because if you're tanking, you're going to get fired. If they have a 6-win season next year, they're all fired.
Not true. I'm stopping you right there.
You think if they win 6 games next year, they're retaining the head coach and the GM?
I think Marrone knows he's fired. If
they win 8 games or 9 games, he's not fired.
I think Marrone's a lame duck coach this year, and DC knows he's not getting fired because I can't say it on a family-friendly show, but DC is locked in there, man. It's too hard to replace the GM. He's had too much okay success, and he's got cons in his pocket.
I don't know, man.
I said before this season, you guys said he was gone. Marrone was gone. I was like, no, they're both staying. I was the only one that was right with that. DC is not gone. He's not going anywhere. Marrone is gone after the season.
Give Caldwell another year. There's no way. If the team is bad, you cannot give him
I didn't say
another year.
I want them to, but DC is going nowhere. He's negotiated the contracts too well. His free agency stuff's been too good, or trades have been too good.
None of the people that they drafted are with the team anymore.
That's not DC's fault.
I mean,
that's
if he
Coughlin's
manages
fault.
the contracts,
that's
and he
Coughlin's
manages
fault.
he could have re-signed Yannick Ngakoue last year. He could have not re-signed Blake Bortles to that 5th. He couldn't have. They could have not picked up that 5th-year option. I think that's what a lot of us are trying to figure out. How is he still here? Yeah, I mean, if you're in a season where you're trying to get the first overall pick, it doesn't matter who your GM is. But the coaching staff and the front office can't be trying to tank because they will not have jobs. So I think they're trying to win 9 games.
Of course they are. They're busting their butt at practice every day. But all the groundwork's been laid to tank this year. Out of their control. Marrone can't say, pay money for this guy. They don't care.
If they have the worst record in football next year, there is not a single person in this front office or coaching staff that is on the
I disagree. DC will still be here.
There's no way.
Okay, you guys, our listeners,
timestamp it, boys. Timestamp it.
Our listeners come up with a non-monetary wager for me and Jason. He says that DC will not be here next year. I guarantee you he will be.
I said if they are the worst team in football. If they're picking one overall.
I'm saying I don't care what they do next year. 1 win, 8 wins, DC is back.
If they're picking first overall, you think Dave Caldwell is making that pick?
Yes.
Well, it doesn't matter who's making the pick because it's Trevor Lawrence. You or me could make that pick.
Well, my point is, if they're picking in the top 10 next year, DC is back. Let's put that out there.
Well, let's see what y'all have to say about that. Brett E says Dave needs to put out a book on how to suck at your job and still keep doing it for so long.
I agree. And I think he's got tape on somebody.
It blows my mind how you can be that bad at a job and still keep your job. I can't even imagine. In any of our industries that we work in, if you perform that poorly, you do not keep your job.
But here's the thing. Like that position, it's not like getting a new head coach or getting a new defensive coordinator. There's plenty of those out there. Like those guys just like rotate clubs. And Cons increased the net worth of the club from like $900 million to over $2 billion with DC. So does he really want to? He doesn't care. He doesn't want to be involved in the day-to-day stuff.
But how much of that has to do with Dave Caldwell? I mean, how much of that is him investing in stadium renovations or him, investing in marketing strategies? Like, how much is Dave Caldwell adding to the overall net worth bump that we had? Because having one winning season since he's been here isn't enough, in my opinion.
I don't think he's added to it, but I don't think he's taken away from it that much.
Maybe. Ramon James says, unfortunately, I agree. Dave Caldwell will stay, and Coach Marrone is at the mercy of being fired.
All right, Ramon. I like you.
It could be Raymond. I don't know. Brandon Brown says, Minshew will not suck that bad. I think he will win some close games that will at least get us to 8 wins.
Yeah, and he's going to make it very difficult
to tank.
Exactly.
I think Minshew's going to be a good quarterback. All right, I think he's going to be a franchise quarterback. I think they win 9 games next year.
Okay, and I know I'm negative about a lot of stuff this year, but the one thing I'm positive about is like I would take a above average player that has passion and plays his butt off above a good player that mails it in. And we have a lot of above average players, Minshew being one of them, that is just die hard, play your butt off, try as hard as you can, want to make it. And we have a lot of young players that maybe above average, great, good players later, but that still have to prove themselves. And that works in your favor, man. If Maroon can get those guys dialed in, like motivation-wise, and they're all working together, and Minshew, they're rallying around him, yeah, it's possible.
Well, there's a lot to be seen with that. The good thing about it is that Minshew is going to give a chance. I feel bad for him because the Jags didn't do much to help him. I mean, if you think about it, they added the running back Chris Thompson, who has a history with Jay Gruden, in the third down back, especially in the receiving game.
Hey, once again, training camp, it's running great routes, not just jump off in the backfield.
Doing great,
great routes.
So they added a second running back on the depth chart. They added a second tight end on the depth chart because as much as people want to force Eifert into that role that he was when he was drafted his first couple years in Cincinnati under Jay Gruden, he's not that guy anymore. They didn't improve the offensive line. They drafted Laviska Shenault, who's probably a third or fourth wide receiver. It seems like this is a backhanded attempt at helping Minshew, which is sad because I don't think he got a fair shot. And I think if they would have given Minshew the teams they gave Bortles, I mean, Minshew would be head and shoulders better than Bortles ever was.
Dude, Minshew comes out and wins 8-9 games, or 6 to 9 games next year, and we cut him.
I don't think we cut him. I think we trade him for like a
exactly, or we trade
pick.
him.
Yeah,
dude, there are a million teams out there that would want to take him
for sure.
That have that structure around him. Minshew's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Zach Jones says, if you had to choose between Dede and Cole in the slot, who are you taking? I feel like Cole does more with fewer opportunities he's given.
Dede 1,000%. I don't trust Cole as far as I could throw his 120-pound butt.
There's one thing that we know about that competition between Cole and Westbrook is that whoever wins that job is going to lead the team in drops at all passes at them.
No.
Because they both cannot catch the ball to
Dude,
save their lives.
Dede had a spinal cord injury last year. Keelan Cole just got scared in the yips and dropped everything that was thrown to him.
Dede Westbrook had his fair amount of drops.
I didn't say he didn't.
It
was
well.
because he was playing with a neck injury, dude.
Maybe. Okay, so if you want to try to convince me that the neck injury led to drops, I might
not?
hear that out. But I mean, a drop is a drop in the NFL to me.
Okay, how many times have you seen Dede Westbrook catch the ball, break a tackle, and go another 5 to 10 yards? Down the sideline, maybe not in the middle, but down the side. Okay.
Keelan Cole had a couple catches like that. Conley
No,
did
never.
too.
Keelan Cole has never been hit and broken a tackle. Ever.
Well, Conley had a good.
I'm talking about Conley. I like Conley.
Against the Raiders, he had that big third down catch that led to the field goal or the touchdown. I'm sorry.
I think you mentioned earlier. I think the big unknown though is going to be what's the dude's name?
Colin Johnson.
Colin Johnson. They said that guy's like the fastest guy in the NFL.
He had those two one-handed catches. I like Colin Johnson. I'm rooting for him. I want him to be good. Hopefully he is.
I don't know anything about him though. Other than that he's apparently
he's from Texas,
super fast. Oh, he's the guy that had the injury
tall.
in college.
No,
he
might have. They're all injured. He's the tall dude from Texas. They drafted in the 5th round.
Yeah, but he would have been a 2nd round pick if he wasn't injured his senior year, I think. Possibly.
Maybe.
Anyway,
yeah.
I've heard that. Okay,
he's a good player.
Okay.
Good player for sure. Wide receiver still up in the air. Let's see here. We have Elliot Crabtree. I like his comments, so let's read what he has to say. Next offseason, we should sign Dak Prescott as Minshew's backup if he becomes a free agent.
Oh, Dak?
It would be hard for me to see Dak Prescott being a backup anywhere next year.
He just signed a 4-year deal. Or did he get franchised? He signed eventually.
They haven't signed him yet, I don't think.
I wouldn't.
The last thing coming out of Cowboys is they created $7 million of cap room to make room for Dak.
I mean, the thing is about him, dude, honestly, he's playing behind one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. He's got guys around him. He's got,
got
the best running back in the
league.
NFL.
Yeah,
I mean, like
absolutely.
without even close in the
Yeah.
past 3 years. So, dude, you put him on the Jags, he's gonna look like Cody Kessler.
His first 3 seasons, Dak Prescott has made $450,000. So he's made $1.5 million. He's made $2 million in his NFL career.
Well, if he'd made it to the playoffs or
$2
won a game, there would have been some incentives in there.
When you think Dak Prescott, I mean, I know he's about to sign a big deal.
No, I agree. You think he's got like 10, 15
but you
under his
think
belt.
of a guy that's
Yeah.
like solid, and he's made $2 million.
I mean, he was like top 3 in passing last year.
So, some of those guys, man, are just.
So if he doesn't get that contract, dude,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
wow.
Yeah, like that's a guy that I would be like, all right, maybe you should hold out. Like Ngakoue, different story because.
So I think the opposite. Like if I'm Dak, I've made $2 million. Like guarantee me like 30 over 4 and like a signing bonus, man.
That's true. Do you like? At what point do you like short change yourself?
You've got to.
just
at that
being
point.
like, dude, I got to make some money.
I can't
bro.
gamble on this anymore. Jerry Jones, you're way smarter than I am. Like, dude, I'll sign.
Yeah,
I want some money.
I've pushed my luck enough years. Yeah, I feel that.
That's tough.
I feel that for sure.
That's crazy. $2 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's my dad.
Dak Prescott
Had a funny one. I gotta
I'm
go
sorry.
up to it. He says, "That's my dad said. So many chips on shoulders. We should be the Jacksonville Ruffles."
Hey, I'm in. All in.
There's some good storylines going around here.
I love that.
Remember
dude.
Keelan Cole?
The Ruffles.
Was it Keelan Cole that was living in his car? Was
No, it wasn't Keelan. Was it?
No, it was the other dude.
He played special teams.
Yeah,
He's
the
gone.
kicker, Mickens, Jaden Mickens.
Which
yeah.
that was my favorite guy for a long time.
Yeah, that was funny. Remember I was on the Mickens train?
It wasn't even like a big car.
Yeah.
It's like a little car.
Let's see here. That's my dad. We're going back to having a fullback. How do you feel that will affect Fournette and the offense as a whole?
That's my dad. Did you listen to the cast last week? Because that fullback hasn't played a snap of football in 5 years. And he got out of the league for character issues. So, I mean, come on.
So here's what we did. When we signed Jay Gruden, I went back and watched some Jay Gruden film, and Jay Gruden had an interesting timeline as a coach. The last 2 years in the NFL, the quarterback he thought he was going into the season with got injured early. I think Kirk Cousins 1 year got injured. Alex Smith got injured.
Well, and that's hard to deal with as a
Absolutely.
OC.
So I had to go back to like 2017 to see when the last time that he had an offense where the
Cincinnati?
guy he was expecting to have. No, it was in Washington.
Okay.
The guy he was expecting to have and all the players around him. And that team was Kirk Cousins. It was Adrian Peterson. It was Jordan Reed. It was Vernon Davis. It was Terrell Pryor.
So that was the year that Kirk Cousins got his money.
That was the year that he had a good year. And I looked at how Gruden used personnel, and I went through every single game to check his personnel.
Every single game?
Yeah, every single game.
Wow.
And he used fullbacks a lot in his formations, but he didn't use fullbacks. He used tight ends.
Yeah.
So he would use like 3 tight ends a lot.
Yeah, one of them was blocking, one of them, yeah.
So do the Jags have 3 tight ends?
No.
I mean, do the Jags have 3 guys? I mean, I know they brought in the fullback, but he hasn't played since 2015. They cut the guy they had. He obviously wasn't good enough.
I have no problem with fullbacks. I think that's old school football. I kind of like it. Like I like that hard nosed guy. You can throw him in goal line too if you need him to. But
I just think
that's the best fullback you could get.
Defenders are just too athletic at reading plays and what they're going to do. So the fullback who used to be able to create contact like at the line of scrimmage or just beyond it are now having to like defeat blockers in the backfield. And I think that's why you're kind of seeing the fullback disappear the last like 2 decades. But look, Jay Gruden has that tight West Coast 3-step drop, halfback draw, load the box, kind of boring offense that the typical fan would find boring, but it works. And the Grudens have a reputation of having their own style of the West Coast offense. So I guess we'll see.
You don't sound too enthusiastic about that.
I don't think, given the personnel, that Jay Gruden's going to be successful.
Okay,
and I love Jay Gruden.
Okay, but given the personnel, we've ran the most vanilla offense in the last, 3 years, 2 years. Same thing over and over again. Up the middle, dump off to Fournette, whatever routes down the line. I mean, nothing over the – I mean, wouldn't you rather have something different regardless?
I'm happy for anything different. Like, don't get me wrong. I love different. And I actually specifically like Jay Gruden's style of the West Coast offense but you need a good offensive line. You need tight ends for it to work. And I feel like that's our two weaknesses on offense.
Whoa, our offensive line is like solidified.
Oh, yeah.
Have you not heard the training camp?
Oh, yeah. Ben
quotation?
Barch.
No,
Ben Barch is going to win the right guard job.
Cam at left is like all world at this point.
Oh, yeah. We'll see.
Tony Baselli said he fixed his footwork. He's healthy.
Magic. He must take some magic beans.
No, they asked him. He said in the offseason,
all right.
He worked on his footwork.
I'm here for it. I'm optimist. I'm happy, but for being realistic, I saw pictures of Will Richardson and Cam Robinson coming into camp, and they didn't look, as I would say, in shape, if you'll allow me to be
they've had like a week and a half of non-padded, non-tackling, and some off days. They should be fit.
I'm a little behind on the YouTube chat. I apologize, guys, but keep sending them in, and we'll try to get to them. UCF Jaguar. What's up? Love you, UCF Jaguar. He says, Byron Leftwich for head coach in 2021.
Ooh, no way. Sorry, UCF.
There's something that just strikes me about Byron Leftwich that says that he'll never be a head coach. I don't know why.
He's worked up the ranks like quickly.
He has, and he has a really good reputation, but it's just something. I'm just hearing him talk as a player. Just nothing ever screamed like this dude could run a team, ever.
I mean, let's just see. I would say his management of Tom Brady as an OC will be a very good indicator of how he can manage the team.
Yeah.
It doesn't get more hard than that.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. Raymond James says, too early draft picks first round. Jags end up 6-10, 7-9. Most of the defeats are not Minshew's fault. The Rams implode. They're picking third, and the Jaguars are picking 13th. Who are you picking at 3 and 13? Well, at 3, you got to hope that
the guy from Oregon,
Penei Sewell's there.
Is that the Oregon guy?
Yes, the Oregon.
Yes, give me.
There you go. Look at Joey doing his homework on the draft pick.
Couldn't remember his name. I knew he was from Oregon.
You got to hope Sewell's there at 3. If he's there, you solve your left tackle problem for years to come.
Yeah, that guy's an absolute guarantee as far as offensive line goes.
But then there's a chance that he gets picked second.
Well, then you get Justin Fields.
If you're picking third with the Rams pick, that means you're probably not replacing Minshew immediately. I think
okay. Is it not bad to have a solid backup, which every other good team that's ever been good ever picks a good backup?
You don't get a backup at that high, though.
If you're the Jags, you do, because you haven't had a good quarterback in 15 years.
Well, if he in his scenario, he has the Jags picking 13, which means that they're a little worse than average.
But then you can't get a quarterback at 13.
Exactly. So
you take Fields.
Maybe you take Fields.
You take Fields.
Okay.
O-line Fields, and then 13.
Okay, I think that depends on a lot of Minshew's play. If he's the guy, if he's still turning the ball over in the pocket, and if he's barely scraping wins out in the fourth quarter again, then I think you do take a quarterback. If he kind of shows that he's taking the next year's step and he's shown he can lead a team and make the smart reads and the good throws, I think you draft a receiver there. I mean, there's like 2 guys coming out of Alabama. I mean, Thompson, I can't remember his name, coming out of Alabama. There's really good receivers coming out. I mean, you help them out. You give them some help. You draft a left tackle. You draft a receiver. You address defense in 2020. But yeah, I mean, Minshew's play is the variable there.
If we suck next year, it's going to be because of offensive line, quarterback, or
defense.
Yeah. So,
but defense is youth, not so much like skill. Although the skill is obviously absent.
Yeah, but you'll be able to see the spots that are youth errors versus sucky players on defense.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I get it. Elliot Crabtree, looks like the Jalen Ramsey won't re-sign with the Rams. That's hilarious.
No?
The Rams have issues, and I wouldn't sign Jalen Ramsey if I had issues. Jalen Ramsey's a good player. He's going to land on his feet somewhere. I mean, he talks a lot, but that's just the way that it is.
I've heard both sides of that, though, just to interject quickly, that 50% of the experts out there think the Rams are going to tank next year, and we are getting a top 10 pick from them. The other 50% say they've still got the pieces in place. I mean, you still got Aaron Donald. They said they're going to re-sign Ramsey, and they've got other good players, so it's all going to be down to quarterback play with them as well. So that could go either way.
Well, they lost Dante Fowler, so now I think it's game over. They lost their best edge rusher. How are they going to replace him?
Where'd he go? Cleveland?
Atlanta. Atlanta.
Oh, nice.
At BOE and UNK show says, what do you think about the Jernigan pickup?
I was excited about it, and then today I heard he showed up to camp like 30 pounds overweight and out of shape.
I think everyone's overweight and out of shape. I mean, that's what I got from the pictures that I've been seeing of the big boys. They're all out of shape.
Allen was not.
He's not a big
Minshew
boy.
was not.
They're athletes. I'm talking about the big boys.
Oh, the big boys.
Yeah, the big boys. All the big boys are out of shape.
Anyway,
I like Jernigan. I mean, the only thing that gives me a little bit of reservation about Jernigan is that the Jags obviously picked Rodney Gunter over Timmy Jernigan because that's who they originally signed to play that position. And then when Gunter opted out, they then went to their backup plan of Timmy Jernigan. So that gives me a little bit of reservation with if he was that good, the Jags would have gone after him initially, I think.
it doesn't bother you at all that like Houston was going to pay him like 3.6 and then he failed a physical and nobody will talk about that physical?
There's a lot of speculation about that story that he put out on Twitter that he never failed a physical. So
well, they said he did though.
He is coming off of injuries. I mean, he hasn't had a full season since like 2018. So that gives you some. I mean, I like Jernigan. I've always liked him and Jernigan.
Can you show up to training camp so overweight that you fail a physical?
People show up to training camp overweight all the time.
I know that.
That's not concerning.
But is that like a legitimate reason for Houston to cut somebody that they might not have otherwise?
Maybe that's a good point.
So the fat boy cut.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, well, he can get in shape.
All right, let's hit one more question. We're going to take a quick little break, then we'll be right back. But Brandon Brown says that he's overweight and out of shape.
I feel you, Brandon. I'm not trying to play pro football.
Brandon, we just had a great conversation about I hurt my back last week deadlifting. Joey turns to me and goes, "Bro, why are you deadlifting in the first place?" And I had to think to myself, yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. Why am I deadlifting? I mean, I'm not picking up cars off the ground. So he's got to get the groceries out of the shopping cart.
He wants to look cool at the gym by himself. Like there was nobody else there. He was just doing it.
Wind with Julian Alvarez. His comment. He says, we could be a winning team only if Chenault does as good as Chark does.
That's pretty fair.
If Chenault and Chark are both Pro Bowl receivers, then yes, things are going good. If you have two Pro Bowl receivers, because Chark was a Pro Bowl receiver. Let's say Chark takes a little step down and Laviska Shenault eats into his snaps and productivity. I think you're still looking good.
It's even better.
Yeah.
They can't zero in on one guy.
Shenault looks good. And I think everyone likes Shenault. I love Shenault. I'm one of the biggest Shenault fans out there. Can he stay healthy? When he starts taking those hits, look, no one's ever accused him of being a bad wide receiver. So when you see all these training camp videos of him just snatching the ball out of the air, that's not something that surprises me. What's going to surprise me is if he can stay healthy all year and even just play 12 games. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Carson Shackelford, here we go with the back. Here we go with being right back. Is that maybe he's talking about? We will be right back, regardless of that. Hang tight. We're going to take like 2 minutes is our average break time. Take a 2-minute break, use the restroom, get a refill, and we're going to get to the rest of your comments. Thank you guys so much for being here in the live chat. Think of some good stuff, some good comments, some good questions, and we will field all of them when we get back for part 2. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll be right back. Just it's getting old. Welcome back to Jaguars United live show. I'm here with Joey tonight. Thank you guys so much that have been hanging around in the chat and hanging around in the comments. Make sure to send us your comments and things like that. We'd love to get the fans involved. Before we jump more into the Jags talk, make sure that you follow us on Twitter. We are at Jaguars_United, and we are on Instagram at JaguarsUnited_. We also have a website, JagsUnited.com. You can get some apparel. We have some new apparel coming within the week or so. Some new shirts, which we'll put out there, which I think you'll like, Joey.
I heard the teaser on it. It
Yep.
sounded
Be good. I don't give too much information away.
I won't.
We'll put it out next week. We also have articles on there, things like that. So check out the website. We post all our videos there. So if you miss any of our videos or you're a Neanderthal and not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you can find them all there.
Which if you and your best friend don't subscribe, there's something wrong with you.
If you don't create 7 accounts and then subscribe, then there's something wrong with you.
You at least know 7 people.
What kind of supporter
right?
are you? But thank you guys so much. Shout out to UCF Jaguar, who's got his people in here.
Yeah, man.
He's got his crew in here, which we love. Look,
Yeah.
we're a family. We do this all together. Can't
Everyone's-
wait for UCF to come up. We're going to miss our yearly conversation with UCF Jaguar because there's no home games or fans allowed in. So we'll have to figure out something to go.
Shouldn't be hard.
Yeah, we'll figure out something. So training camp, we talked in the first part. If you're listening to the podcast and you jumped into the second part of this somehow, then we talked about like our expectations coming out of training camp, because every year in every training camp, in every NFL team, there's only positive news coming out.
Yeah, and the difference this year, though, is like usually you have that high. Like everybody looks great. Training camp was awesome. This guy's blowing up. This guy's doing this. And then you go into the preseason. Some guys look like it. Some guys don't. Then some guys sit. Some guys don't. I mean, we're literally going from like this high of like, man, the Jags have turned it around with everything pretty much, to the first game against the Colts.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like bam, bam. I kind of like it, honestly.
Week 1's going to be weird.
Yeah.
It's going to be really weird. There's going to be guys that are horrible that are end up being good. There's going to be guys that are good that are horrible, and the people that are going to be horrible that are good week 1.
Yeah, it's like nothing you're going to expect, but I have to assume the overall football quality is going to be garbage. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I don't think week 1's going to be very good football.
Like all around the NFL.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right.
It's going to be exciting that it's back, but it's going to be weird, and people are going to get overhyped and people are going to get underhyped, and that's just the way it goes. Julian Alvarez says, "What do you guys think about Dede? Do you think he will get the number 3 or 4 spot, or get traded or released?"
Again, man, I'm a huge Dede fan. Like, I think he really has not gotten the shot here. I mean, Blake was not the quarterback for him. He got hurt. This is his year. Like, I think he's a tough dude. He's fast. He's a good player, but he only has a couple games to show it, man. Like, if he doesn't come out hot, I think he's done.
I have a question for the chat, and I want the chat to answer this. So think about it. And think about it before you answer. I know some of you are quick to type your answers out because you want to get in there first. But I want to hear your real answer to this. Theoretically, hypothetically, whatever word you want to use. If we start the season 0-5, who gets traded before the trade deadline? Who gets shipped out to make room for some cap space and some draft picks? Who are the first guys to get traded if we start 0-5? Joey, who are some guys to you that you think get traded if we're 0-5?
I think Leonard Fournette's gone.
Fournette's gone? Okay,
Gone.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Other than that, I can't think of anybody.
I think Westbrook is a guy that could get traded.
Yeah, but we're not going to get much for him. He's not shown anything.
A team with injuries at wide receiver will bring in Westbrook for, especially a playoff contender team that thinks they can move him into that 3 spot.
Yeah, he'd look great on KC.
UCF Jaguars has Cam Robinson. If he's healthy, man, left tackles get overvalued every year.
True,
But he
hasn't been healthy and he hasn't played fantastic. So if he can put up a couple of solid games and we suck, I can see him going. That's not a bad pick because they don't trust him.
Yeah, and especially if you're planning on drafting a guy like a Sewell in the first round, anyways.
That's not a bad call.
If you, Phil Caudry says Robinson for a 6th, he says Dede for a 5th. Elliot Crabtree says Leonard Fournette. The thing is, with the injury to Raquel Armstead, who's your backup running back?
Who cares at that point?
Is it Chris Thompson? Is it the Zebo guy? I mean,
who cares? You're 0-5.
Phil Caudry says Fournette for a fifth. Julian Alvarez has put AJ Can at Cam's spot and Ben Barch at Can's. Jeez, dude. AJ Can at left tackle. Minshew would literally be dead. If you're 0-5.
You threw out the 0-5, though. I mean, these are legitimate 0-5 responses.
Look, if Minshew gets a week 2 ankle injury and misses 3 games, you're bringing in Josh Dobbs to come and play quarterback. You're not going to win any games.
No.
And you're going to be 0-5.
Yeah.
And Minshew's not even going to have a chance to be the leader of this team. He's going to have an injury, and you're shipping off Fournette.
Why are you throwing all this out into the atmosphere?
Does it seem like a weird scenario that seems totally improbable?
No, it happens to us every year.
It
Come on now.
And look, it's realistic because I feel like we're going to find ourselves like week 5 or 6 being like trade deadlines coming up. Someone said Yannick Ngakoue. Is that the time Ngakoue gets shipped out? As if we're just legitimately in tank mode. And we're 0-5. Joey, we're 0-5. Does Dave Caldwell still have his job at 0-5? Does Marone still have his job at 0-5?
I've already said Marone doesn't have a job
gone.
either way. Caldwell could still have his job depending on how he gets rid of all this talent to free up room for whatever else.
There's no way Dave Caldwell comes back if they're picking first. I'm sorry, I can't.
Dude, I'm telling you,
there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Dude, going into this season, he had that deal already.
No.
It doesn't matter what we do this year.
That doesn't happen.
It does happen.
Those don't happen.
It absolutely happens.
Might be some. Phil says Caldwell stays. Look, if they're picking first and they win 1 game next season, there's a higher likelihood of Tony Khan being the GM than Dave Caldwell.
Dude, nobody.
100%. I know you don't get that long. You don't get that long.
Nobody above the coaching staff is worried about their job this year.
I don't know. Julian says AJ Can played left tackle in college, or played tackle in college. Yeah, I mean, so did Will Richardson. I don't think he can play tackle in the NFL. I mean, he may be able to.
Did any of them play tight end in high school?
Ben Barch did.
There we go.
And Blake Bortles.
I've said over and over again we need to bring Bortles back as a tight end.
We put on the ticker. I was reading. I'm glad we got switched to this topic a little bit. Sean McVay said that he was surprised that Bortles hasn't landed on a roster yet. Joey, are you surprised that Bortles hasn't landed on a roster yet?
No, at this point he's probably like 50 pounds overweight and chugging beers on the beach somewhere.
Brent Martineau, I believe it's Brent Martineau, on Twitter said that he saw Bortles playing golf and he looked like he was in good shape. So
fair enough.
It seems weird that Bortles is unemployed right now, but good for him, dude.
He's got to be a better backup than half the people out there.
I mean, I would think he's a better backup than
played
3
for
players on the Jags. I think we got 3 quarterbacks on our roster, but I understand. You can't bring him back to Jacksonville, but I mean...
No, not here, but he should be somewhere.
Yeah.
Who's his agent? Not good.
Yeah, no. Should be me. Blake, hit me up. I mean, maybe we can get Blake in on the podcast now that he's not an NFL player.
He still lives in Los Angeles, I think. Right?
I think he has a house in Marsh Landing still.
Does he?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, if you know anybody that knows Blake, hit us up.
Elliot Crabtree says he wants to sweep the Titans. Yeah, we all do. And he says, I'm not surprised Bortles hasn't been signed yet because he's Blake Bortles. Bortles is going to sign he's going to sign with the Patriots like week 4.
That'd be amazing.
Cam Newton's going to get hurt. Bortles is going to get signed, and he's going to lead the Patriots to...
That'd be the greatest thing ever. Like, would you not be the happy... Like, would that be great?
Someone's going to get hurt, and someone's going to call Blake Bortles' agent and say, fly this man up to here.
That'd be amazing.
Bradley Rorick says, is the big end spot for 2020 on the roster right now? Dwan Smoot, Adam Gotsis, Josh Allen to that spot, ?
I don't even understand the question, so I'll let you answer that one.
Well, Bradley, I think that's a good transition to me promoting our latest YouTube video positional breakdown. If you go to our YouTube, I just broke down the edge rusher position on the Jaguars, and we actually are looking pretty good at edge. And I know traditionally we had that big end, and Todd Wash has traditionally played with that big end, but I don't think that is the thought process going forward. If you look back to last year, they didn't play with a big end. In 2017, they played with Ngakoue and Campbell, who Campbell, I guess, was the big end. So But in 2018, 2019, they really moved Campbell a lot to the defensive tackle spot and let Ngakoue play out there. They let Josh Allen play out there. The NFL is kind of moving away from that big end and is really just putting more on the linebackers and the D tackles to play against the run. I think Jernigan helps against the run a lot. I think Devon Hamilton helps against the run a lot. I think you got a linebacker like Shaq Quarterman who helps against the run a lot. But the big end, I think, is gone. I think it's all athletes now out there, and I think you're going to have some variation of Ngakoue, Allen, Chazon, Smoot as a rotational player. Gotsis hasn't been good in like 2 years, so I don't think there's anything in Gotsis. Who's the other guy that just got suspended for 5 weeks? Josh Morrow or whatever his name is. The end position is going to look different than how it has in the past. I don't think there's a big end anymore. I guess that's what I'm trying to say with 1,000 words.
And like 9 of those were big end.
I would have thought more, to be honest.
I will say that kind of segues to another thing is one of my buddies, Miami fan, like extraordinaire, S. Wood, follows us on YouTube, big fan, big commenter. He huge Shaq Quarterman fan, which a lot of people are, that like have seen him play, have followed him. You don't hear anything about him out of camp. I've heard zero about Quarterman.
There's not a lot to dislike about him. Where we drafted him, what type of player he is. I don't expect him to be an every down player.
No.
But he definitely is going to help against the run. I mean, it's what he's known for.
Which is just weird, though. Like, there's literally, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, back now, again, listen to way too much sports talk radio and read way too much about it. But since training camp has started, I've heard nothing about him.
I think the issue with him is going to be, and this is just putting it as bluntly as possible.
Well, he's slow.
Is he not athletic enough to play at the next level?
Sure.
And I would never say that to the guy's face because, I mean, he could maul me like a bear.
Well, you might be able to get away from him.
But at the same time, I mean, he might literally
you got to zigzag
serpentine.
Hey, you got to cut. You got to cut like an alligator chasing you, man. Not straight away. You got to make lefts and rights. But is that why we haven't heard anything about him? Is like that's showing its face at the next level? That kind of concerns me.
Maybe. But then again,
I hope not.
Then again, there's no sample size to compare because he literally has. There's been no preseason.
And he does have like one of the coolest names ever.
That's Shaq.
That's got to come from something.
Look at Brett E says, "Look at Brandon Linder's Twitter. Blake is in shape, just bald now.
Were they like naked in a pool together?
Probably." Brandon Linder's house was where Bortles got his truck stolen from when it was in his front driveway. And when you hear back the story, he left his keys in the truck.
Yes, he did.
He just thought that he locked his truck, which he didn't. I have a Ford. I have not the same model, obviously.
I think it actually is the same model. Like this was not like a Mac. It was not like an LTZ. This was like your model Ford.
I have the Ford F-150 with the code in.
Yeah.
And when I go to the beach, I leave my keys in my truck.
No, but this is
that's
like,
the only time.
This is like windows down though.
This is.
Keys like laying on the dashboard.
I guess if you have that much money, though,
who cares?
You don't care.
Yeah.
Moon Illusion says, just tuned in. What are your thoughts on Herndon? Think he can hold up on the boundary?
That's everybody thinks so, right? Like it seems to be. We got to give that guy the benefit of the doubt based on the way he's played, the way he finished last season. I mean, right?
I want him to, but my gut tells me he's a cornerback 3. Not nickel either. I mean, like 3 on the boundary. So he's a guy that comes in to play a couple games with injury. If there's a dime package with 4 corners on the field, he comes out there.
Like a breather for a player too, that type of guy.
If Herndon's being asked to be your 1 or 2, I think you're going to have issues in the secondary.
Is he just not athletic enough?
Good athlete, but I mean, just everything. I mean, he was undrafted. No, I mean, it's not that he's undersized. I mean, he's 5'11". I mean, it's definitely not his intelligence. I mean, he's from Vanderbilt.
He just like nailed all the spots that make him a good player.
He's just a little. It's hard to play DB in the NFL. Even the greatest DBs in the NFL get beat.
Of course.
So if you're an average DB, you get beat a lot, and it looks really bad. And people want to look to his 2019 stats to being that he is a good corner, but what you have to remember is his good stats in 2019, he had Jalen playing the other side of him, and when Jalen was gone, teams just literally ran the ball against us every single play. So if they were to throw against us as much as they did normal teams that were competitive and in the game, then I think his stats would have looked a lot worse. And that's me being honest, and I want him to be good. I'm rooting for him. I always root for the Jags, but I'm being realistic.
Good answer.
Elliot Crabtree says Minshew is undefeated against the Titans. Remember that. That's true.
That's something.
I guess he wasn't the starter in that second game when Tannehill beat us, right? Is that what it was? Because we definitely lost one last year. Denny Airy says Ben Bartch has gotten a lot of the praise, and he is big. He has gotten a lot of praise.
He has. A ton.
Where there's smoke, there's fire is an old phrase my parents taught me. And there's a lot of smoke coming out of the Ben Bartch camp.
There is.
In the training camp. So it's good.
I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah. Julian Alvarez says Bortles should land in Atlanta because he would be a great backup there. And when Matty Ice retires, he can take that spot and have Julio and or Ridley.
They're completely different quarterbacks.
I think he's just saying that Matt Ryan's toward the end of his tenure as a quarterback and Bortles could step into that role.
He's not a starting quarterback, though.
I don't think Bortles is good enough to be a starter, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah. Elliot Crabtree says Cody Kessler is a free agent, too.
Quick release Kessler?
No, that's quick release Tanner Lee.
Okay.
Tanner Lee had the quick release.
Cody Kessler overthrew more players in a game than I've ever seen in my entire life.
Cody Kessler is throwing on the run every single snap.
Okay.
He's rolling out. What do you expect?
I'm talking about like
he's not Aaron Rodgers.
Street football, like neighborhood ball, like any type of football. He overthrew more players than I've ever seen in my entire life.
Look, Cody
He
Kessler.
had the first row of the stands.
Cody Kessler
could
could have been good
on a sideline route.
All right, some guys were just dealt a bad hand. Cody Kessler,
and that's
was
his
dealt.
hand that he throws the football with.
You got a lot of concussions, man. He wasn't seeing straight by the end of his career.
I agree.
Right.
I would have taken one drop off the field. Done.
D.D. Westbrook and Keelan Cole had butterfingers, and we're going to give them excuses. But Cody Kessler throws the ball into the section A41, and then all of a sudden
you can't hit somebody. You can't hit at least the other team in the hands.
I guess you're right. Let's see here. Moon Illusion says, "Yep, heard some good things about Bartch. Richardson has been doing well in camp too. Until Will Richardson shows me he can play at a high level, I don't believe that he can."
You took that out of my mouth. I think that guy's garbage.
Yeah, I mean, I hope rooting for him, want him to be good. Have never seen him play at a high level, not even in college.
I don't think he has it.
Go back and watch his college tape. It's very depressing. I don't think I saw him execute one fundamental. And I know offensive linemen aren't drafted on their like technique. Offensive linemen are drafted on their size because coaches think they can teach technique to big guys. He had no technique in college. His technique was fall on the defender. And
Which
he was
you can't
drafted.
do that.
Yeah.
No.
I can't believe it. Trevor Augustus says, how are the running backs looking? I've actually heard a lot of good things about the running backs. And the running backs is one of the strongest positions of this team heading into the season. Because Fournette's a beast.
He is. We know that.
And Chris Thompson has been good every single year he's played. And
dog Chris Thompson earlier. Like, he's the one I've heard the most good things about.
He's good in his role. And his role as a backup spell receiving back is great.
We actually have a receiving back that can catch, run routes.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I was talking about in the scenario where we traded Fournette. Remember our hypothetical?
Oh yeah, my bad.
He can't be the feature guy. I mean, just can't do it. Julian says Herndon shown he can be a great against the Jets. Yeah, he did have a good game against the Jets, but he also had a horrible game against the Broncos.
Man, everybody loves Herndon.
They do.
That's cool. I like him too. Like, I want him to do good. I hope he does.
I mean, Joe Flacco literally picked on him. Joe Flacco. Yes. We're not talking Tom Brady. We're talking Joe Flacco.
Talking about now Joe Flacco, not 5 years ago.
No,
Joe Flacco
yeah, exactly. Trevor Augustus, running back's looking good. Moon Illusions, Ozigbo has been impressive. Again, that's the backup running back. Well, I guess the third string running back. Well, I guess the fourth string if you count Raquel Armstead, but he's hurt, so third string.
How did he get hurt? I didn't hear that.
I don't know. It's probably a hamstring. I think every Jaguar player has
soft tissue.
Everyone has a hamstring. Yeah, I mean it's the running back position is. I'm not worried about that position at all. I'm not. I'm worried about offensive line. Honestly, I'm worried about receiver, and I'm worried about the defense as a whole. I think edge we're fine. I think linebacker we're too deep. Corner question mark. Interior question mark. But I'm cool at running back. Moon Illusion says Oliver's still hurt, right? Yep, he broke his foot. He's going to have surgery.
Well, no, he's on the IR. That means he's done for the season.
Yeah. Hopefully Iper can stay healthy. Hopefully.
Which that's a good point about Oliver, though, because they didn't have to put him on the IR. They could have put him on, just put him on whatever the COVID, you got that extra 12 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
They chose to put him on out for the year, injured reserve.
He's not good.
Which shows you exactly the player he is.
Elliot Crabtree says, I'm very disappointed in Telvin Smith. He basically just left the Jags to let dogs burn in the sun and be a pedophile.
A pedophile?
He is.
What are you throwing there?
He
Oh,
is.
yeah, the 17-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
It's not like he didn't know that was illegal.
Well,
you know,
when you're that high?
what's the Dave Chappelle skit? I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Everyone knows you can't do that.
You can't do any of that.
Everyone knows you can't do that.
I mean, like, call Mike Vick. Like, can I get some advice, bro?
Bro, honestly, the dog thing.
What was the? I never heard the outcome.
I don't
just heard,
know.
like,
I
it
don't
was
know. I didn't get
Animal
into that.
abuse.
You can't get past what he did to get in trouble. I mean, it's
None of it's good.
stupid, and you're dumb.
Yeah.
You're
And
a
it's been
great
like-
player, and you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. There's one thing. There's a couple things as a famous professional athlete you cannot do.
No, and that's
That's
like
one
all.
of them.
It's like all of them.
That's one. You can't do that.
Like he's like checking the boxes from like 1 to 5 at this point.
It's
I mean,
just dumb.
It is.
That's just dumb,
Which
dude.
makes you
You're
wonder.
dumb.
I mean, yeah.
You're a professional athlete. You're making $50 million on your contract. Don't
And
be dumb.
He could have came back and played like crap because we were awful, and made like another $15 million.
Yeah. Corey Trent in the chat. Shout out to him. He's
What's up,
he's the supplier of all of our sweet media equipment we have in here. So
Very
shout out
much
to
so.
Corey Trent. We'll end with Phil's comment because we got to go because it's been over an hour.
About to fall asleep.
Joey's eyes are getting heavy.
I'm struggling here.
He says, fill in the blank. At the end of the season, we will consider Cam Robinson to be...
I think we're going to consider him to be our left tackle of the future.
I think we will consider him to be a bum.
All right, that's another
I hope I'm wrong.
another good bet. He's finally healthy, man. He played good his rookie year.
Whoever said trade him mid-season for a draft pick to
I'll
a
take
team
that,
that
though.
needs a left
I'll
tackle,
take that.
Genius.
I'll take that because
Genius.
left tackle's coming up in the season. But
yes.
my point is like he played good his rookie year. You can't deny that. He was
Yeah.
pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
All right. He's healthy again. Give him a shot.
Yeah.
And then trade him for way more than he's worth.
That's true. I agree. So sell high, I think, is our
There you
opinion
go.
on
You
him.
got to get that stock value back up, though.
UCF Jaguar says Joey and Mike are two way different co-hosts, and that is the most accurate thing we've read in the chat all day.
Hey, UCF, let's expound on that. I think we need more content with that.
Let's
Good or bad.
let's keep it.
No.
Let's keep it simple.
Oh, I just got shut
because
down.
I don't think
Shut down.
Mike's not very popular, but that's okay. We don't bring him on here because of popularity. We bring him on here because he knows everything.
He's like a
that's
sports almanac.
He's the Rain Man of sports, if you haven't noticed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to UCF Jaguar who got us to 1,000 subscriptions.
Really appreciate that.
Thank you. You're the man. We appreciate it. Thank you to all the guys who are in here in the chat. All the guys with the good comments. Elliot Crabtree, shout out to you. You had some of the best comments and questions tonight. Keep them coming.
He was rock solid tonight.
Absolutely. But everyone, we appreciate you being here. Make sure to follow us on all our social media. You can check out all our videos on YouTube. You can check out all of our past podcasts, our video breakdowns, and all that other stuff. Reach out to us. Leave us a comment, a thumbs up, subscription, all that stuff. We'll be here with Joey next Monday night for sure, so make sure you're tuned in around 10 o'clock. And hopefully we'll see you before then, but you never know.
Never know.
Thank you, Joey, for being here.
This is awesome.
Always as always. Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys next week for sure. And as always, go Jags.
Go